Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to day 4 of normal JS track, and then so let me go ahead and then get started. So
Mm,
yesterday we were discussing about the data types and stuff, right, in the
mm,
JavaScript. So what did we discuss? We discussed about different primitive data types and then structural data types. So we
mm,
knew what is undefined, we know what is boolean, we know what is number, what is string, what is begint, and what is symbol. So I think symbol is
Symbol.
something that we are going to do today, but rest of the five
Okay.
I think we discussed yesterday. And then we
Yeah.
also discussed structural data types, which are objects and functions. Okay,
Okay.
and then so we also did cohesion yesterday, and then I also told you about how to declare a function. So let me
Mm,
just go ahead and then give you few more examples regarding all of them one more time. Okay, so that's
okay.
part of our day 2. So you see I have a pre-built example, a set of examples
Yeah.
here. Okay,
Yeah. I saw.
yeah,
So.
so you can see that whenever you declare a variable called as var a or let a or whatever, right? And
Mm,
then you try to see what is the type of that particular variable. Okay,
yeah.
so type of keyword is used in order to know the data type of a particular variable which
Yeah.
is created.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you assign a number to that, it will get the type of will actually give you number. If you leave it blank, as in this first case, you will get undefined. So you can see that in the whatever is commented out here is something that you are expecting. Okay, that is the output that you are expecting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then whatever is done after that is declaration part. Okay, the second first part
Okay.
is the output that you're expecting, second part is declaration, and third part is you want to see whether it is actually giving the first line or not. Okay, so let me just go ahead and then uh, type node day 2. Okay, and then we have index.js in there.
Mm,
Okay, so you can see first one is giving undefined as expected. So
Uh,
you declare a variable called as var a, and then you try to see the type of that particular variable and you get undefined. Okay, and then
yeah.
you the moment you assign a number to that, you will get number.
Number.
Okay, so it could be same one as well. So let me just go ahead and then give 10 now here. Okay, previously it was undefined. Okay, let me just go ahead and then type this now. You're looking at it, line number 7. So what is line
Mm,
number 7 now? It is same variable that was declared in line number 2, correct?
okay.
So previously what I did, I declared a variable, did not assign it anything, and then trying to check what is the type of that. And later
Mm,
on line number 7, I assigned it a number and then trying to check the type of it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and then run it one more time, and then you see it is still the same result, undefined and
okay.
number. Got it?
So it
So
doesn't change means.
yeah, so only reason why I choose a different variable here, variable name here is just to keep it separate so that you can understand it. Like how do you do initial declaration? So that's the only reason why I choose to do a new declaration each time. But you see that
Okay.
each time you give this, okay, yeah, if I just keep doing this also, it works exactly same. Okay?
Mm.
I just type EA everywhere instead of all these things.
Means we have to do the in declaration at the starting.
Sorry.
I have to declare the variable means I have to initialize the variable in the start only.
Yes.
Where equal to.
Yeah, so you see here, so now I'm typing all A's only, type of A only I'm checking, and then I'm reassigning everything to A only, right? So when I check this, you see that all of them are still giving same answers. Okay,
Okay.
okay, so
Yeah.
one thing that you might want to see is that symbol is something that we did not learn yesterday. Okay, but we also
Mm,
learned about object, and we learned about how function name is defined. So function is name is defined using function keyword followed by function name, and then two open
okay.
and close brackets followed by open and close flower brackets, and then in between open and close flower brackets you will have your logical statements. Okay, you could have expressions or logical statements or whatsoever okay, it could be return statements, whatever, just some set of statements that you will have. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
now so going forward, so let's go ahead and then google about what is uh, what do you say, what is symbol data type. Okay, so the reason why I did not choose to do it yesterday is that I wanted to show you how you actually go ahead and read about something that you do not know. Okay, so this is the first thing you do. Okay, well, first, you just go ahead and then type it in the Google, but the right reference to search for something in JavaScript would be developer.mozilla.org. Okay, I would say you just go ahead here and then look for the explanation that is given here, because others are blogs where but this is more like JavaScript's official documentation. Okay, more like, okay, I'm not saying this is the one, but it's more like that. Okay, so let's see what symbol is why symbol is used for. Okay, and then you see the first line says symbol is a built-in object whose constructor returns a symbol primitive, also called as symbol value or just symbol, that guarantees to be unique. Okay, can you see the word you're looking for here is unique. Okay, and then just go ahead and then read a few more lines from there. Symbols are often used to add unique property keys to an object that won't collide with keys any other code might add to the object, and which are hidden from mechanisms of other code will typically use to access the object. Okay, so I mean, it may not really make sense if you keep reading that. So what we do is we just go down and then let's check what are the examples that are given here. Okay, so here you see that they have declared 3 symbols. Okay, the first one is just a symbol with absolutely nothing in there. Second one is a symbol which is of string foo, and the third one is again a string symbol with string foo. Okay, so typically what we understand, we think is, so if you just come back and then let's say I go to this hello.js. So let me copy this code. You see, this is how you copy it. Click on just this clip icon and you can copy the code, entire code. Okay, so typically what happens is, just assume that you have defined 2 things. One is string1 which says foo. Okay, the second one is string2 which is again a foo. Okay, just because we are using let here, I'm gonna go ahead and then use let here also. Okay, so now just go ahead and then type string1 equals string2. Okay, so is string1 equal to string2? So let's go ahead and then check it now. Node hello.js, and you say that it's giving you true. Okay, because the so general assumption is both are same, so it's giving you true. Let's go ahead and then do triple equal to, and then let's see what it gives. It still gives you true. Now let's
triple equal to stands for?
Yeah, that's an assignment that I leave you to. Okay, but general I'll just give you a hint at what it is. So double equals to just generally checks for what is the value. Okay, whether values are matching or not. Okay, while triple equals to also matches the memory location. Okay, but now you might think that string1 and string2 both are having both are declared separately, so both should be pointing to different memory location, right? Go ahead and then read why it is still giving you true even when it is triple equal to. Okay, so I'll write down the questions that I generally give it to you, so that I hear back the feedback also. Okay, now so now let's go ahead and then check for symbol 2 and then symbol 3. Correct? So what do you think it would be?
True.
It is false. Okay, let's go ahead and then try double equal to. Okay, and then it's still false. Okay, so now if you come back and then see what was the thing that it was talking about, it is guaranteed to be unique. Okay, so whenever you want something to be what do you say, unique, and then you do not want it to be matching with any other thing, so you just go ahead and then use symbol data type. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. Okay, now so just go ahead and then read the rest of the story so that you'll understand it even better. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Now, so that's about the first thing. Now, so this is all about declaration of how declaration about the different data types. Okay. So moving forward, what is this? Okay, no. Fine. So the next thing that we're looking at is the explanation about let constant var.
Okay.
Okay. So for that, what I'll do is I'm just gonna go back to this hello.js one more time. Okay. So let me explain you what is a scope first. Okay. Scope, or maybe say, you can say block. Okay. However you want to treat it as. Okay. So just treat it as a boundary of your house. Boundary to something. For example, if you're declaring an array, I'm assuming that you know it, even though we have not reached that stage yet. This is how you declare an array, right? So something is within that, which means this is a boundary to that. Okay. And then let's come back to example that you already know. String. Whatever is between those double quotes. So double quote is your boundary. Correct. So this is your scope. Okay. That is your boundary. Okay. But what is a scope to a variable that is defined? For example, you defined a variable called as var is a is equal to 23. Okay. Now what is the scope? There is no scope for this. This is global because you did not set a boundary to this. Okay. Now let's go ahead and then add a boundary. A boundary can be defined using flower bracket. Okay. Now where you cannot add this kind of code in your code, right? Like you cannot simply add flower brackets and then mention something like this. Correct. Generally you won't do that. Correct. So when do these flower brackets come in? These flower brackets come in with certain conditions. For example, if you are writing a if statement, you will get flower brackets. Correct. If you are doing a for statement, you will get a flower bracket. Correct. Then what are the other things that you might think of? If you are declaring a class, right? You have flower bracket. Right. If you are declaring a function, you get a flower bracket. Can you see it? So flower brackets are everywhere. Okay. So now whatever you define in within that, so that becomes your boundary. Like whatever is defined inside this, right? This all this green color has this flower brackets as their boundary now. Right. So now is that clear? Now you won't be defining it like this. Correct. But you will be defining something like this. Right. You will be defining it within a var, within a if condition, within a for condition, within a class, or within a function. Correct. So now what happens is that particular if condition, a branching statement, a looping statement, class, or a function becomes boundary to that. Correct. So now with that in your mind, so let's go ahead and then understand the difference between let, var, and const. Okay. So we'll try to understand it from scope's perspective first. What do you mean by scope? Is that it's like, so just understand it in a vibe that you have along with your peers, right? When you say scope, so somebody is more scoped than the other one because his visibility is more. Okay. Correct. His visibility range is more than the other guy. Okay. Means he's more popular, right? So I think similar concepts comes back to your let, var, and const also. So let's go ahead and then add a block to understand this. So what we'll do is we'll just declare a variable called as var a is equal to say Sumit. Okay. And then let's do var b is equal to Kailash. And then let's say var c is equal to say code multiverse. Okay. Now if I do console.log of a, b, c, what do you think will be the result?
All those things.
Right. All those things. So you are getting Sumit, Kailash, and code multiverse. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, so let's remove this console.log statement from here and then come out and then print it.
Same.
Okay. So let's run this again and you will see same result. So now what does that mean? Whenever you declare a var, Okay, so where gets hosted
Filter.
and then you get it as a global scope. Okay, it comes into
Yes.
global scope. Okay, so that doesn't matter where you define a variable. Okay, you can always access it from any part of your code. Okay,
Oh.
that's the understanding. So it doesn't matter whether you join with a if, okay, or for, or a function, or whatever. You can access it anywhere in your code. Okay, that's the understanding. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and then do the second one. So let's just go ahead and then make the changes for C with let.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll just comment this and then put it as original. So if I do console.log of ABC, what will happen?
Same.
It will give me same result. Okay, so when you're within the block, you're getting the same result. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me comment this now and then uncomment line number 12. Okay,
So
now
what
let's
is
try
it?
to see this, and you're getting what?
Yeah.
You're getting a reference error. It says C is not defined. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that your let is locally scoped.
Yeah.
Correct? Your let is locally scoped. So
Locally
locally means within this block. So you are
Yeah.
famous, but within your colony or within the block that you are living in. Okay,
Yeah.
but the other guy who is your neighbor is also known in the other part of the town. Correct. If you just take his name, he's known there. He's very popular. His scope is more like that. Okay. So so understand this var, let, and const as what? Understand them as surnames. So correct.
Okay.
So few surnames are popular. They are known across the city, and
Block.
few surnames
Yeah.
are known only to that particular area
Yeah.
or block that you are living in. Correct.
Yeah.
It's more like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go ahead and then make this var b as const. Okay, and then let me comment line number 12 again, and let me uncomment line number 9. Okay, and then I'm running this. So what happens? It's still giving you the same result, which means
Yeah.
even when you try to access var, it doesn't matter whether it is var, constant, or let, all of them are accessible within the block. Within your block, within that particular boundary, it is accessible. Okay, now
Yeah.
the next step is, let's see if const can be accessed outside. Okay, so what is happening? It says B is not defined. So what does that means? It means that even your
Locally.
const is also what?
Locally.
Yeah, it is also locally scoped.
Scoped.
Okay, so now what I did was, here is your property that is associated, and then here is the value for that. So first one is for var, second is for const, and third one is for let.
Let.
Okay, or I'll just rearrange this var in the top, right? Var, let, and const. Now, so the next thing that we are talking about is mutability.
Okay.
Okay, what do you mean by mutable and immutable? You have watched all the Marvel movies, right? At least few of them. Have you watched Triple X? Sorry, not Triple X. This X-Men. Triple X also had something, right? But anyways, have you watched X-Men, all Wolverine and other stuffs?
Yeah.
Right. So they are, what are they called? They are called mutants, right?
Yeah.
Mutants are who? The ones who have evolved. Okay.
Okay.
Who have changed. Okay. So same thing comes here as well. Mutability is something that can be changed. Immutable is someone who cannot, which cannot be changed. Okay. So let's go ahead and then do what? Let's go ahead and then see if A can be changed to something else within the block.
Okay.
Sumit to Sumit C.
Okay.
Okay. And then if B can be changed, okay, let's try one by one maybe. Okay. So we are already done with the scoping, so I'm just gonna remove this, but still add so that we can check it later. Okay. Now, so you are changing A within the block. Okay, now let's see if it has gotten changed. You see that it has gotten changed. Okay, so var can be changed. It is mutable.
Okay.
So var, whenever you declare something for a var, you can change it. So initially it was a string, you later changed it to a string. Okay, but you can also change it to a number, or you can also change it to a object. You can change it to anything. Got it? So now let's see if we can do the same thing for C, which is let. Okay, so we are going in this order now: var, let, and const. Okay, let's see if we can do it for C also. Okay, so let me just go ahead and then run the program again, and you can see initially C was what? Sorry, I'll just change this. My bad. Initially C was what? Code multiverse, and then later you changed it to an object with name, and it is getting changed. So even your let is mutable. Okay, and then final thing is what? Your const. Correct? So what is const variable name? It is B. Okay, so let me just go ahead and then run this, and what am I getting? I'm getting a type error. Okay, previously we were getting reference error when we were trying to change the scope. Okay, when we were trying to access it in different places. But now what are we doing? We are trying to change the value. So this time what are we getting? We are getting type error. Okay, so look at, keep a watch on all these types, different types of errors. Okay, so previously we got a reference error when we were trying to do what? When we were trying to access it outside the scope. Okay, now we are getting a type error. When are we getting it? When we are trying to assign something to a constant variable. Okay, so a constant is what? It's a immutable object. Okay, so you cannot change it. Okay, but so just for simplicity's sake, what I'm gonna do is I want to declare constant b here instead of the original one. Let's say constant b is this. Okay, this is constant b. Okay. So now let me do this. I'll run this, and you can see that name is printing properly. Can you see it? So constant b, I've declared it called as name is equal to Sumit, and I can see it. So now what I'll do is I'll just say b dot name is equal to code multiverse. Now if I print this, what is happening? It got changed, right? But according to our previous example, it was not supposed to change. Correct? You declared something as a const. It was not supposed to change. Correct? But suddenly we see a difference in what we learnt. Okay. Okay, so let's just go ahead and then see if we can change it entirely like this. Let's go ahead and then try to do this. Can you see, can you spot the difference between line number 12 and 13, 14, 15? It's exactly same, right? Right. You're changing name here also, and you're changing name here also. Correct? In both the examples, you're changing name. So what I'm doing here, I just took the property name and then assigned a value to that. And then here what I'm doing, anyway it is just name which is getting changed. So I did same thing here also. Okay. I'm running the program, and this time what am I getting? I'm getting error. Okay, because the constant is, or the constant is immutable at a object level, not at the object property level. So what I mean by that is you can assign or change the values within the object. Okay, because these things are stored in a different memory location, so you can directly change it. It is absolutely fine. But this whole thing is an object, and you're trying to you have assigned it to variable b. And what are you doing? You're trying to assign that to b. You're not trying to assign it to b dot name. You're trying to assign it to b. So that's when you still get a error. Okay. Got it? So you can still change it to b dot name and then expect a different answer. Okay, and you will see that it works absolutely fine. Okay, but when you are when you are assigning it to b as a whole, because b is defined as constant, b dot name is not defined as constant. Got it? So that's why b cannot be changed, while the properties inside that, okay, can be accessed and can be changed, can be mutable. Okay, so let me just go ahead and then write it in the bracket. Okay,
Partially.
properties inside the constant can be accessed and mutated.
Okay.
Now, so that gives you a difference between let, var, and const.
Yeah.
So now this is one of the key things that most of the people look for when you go for interviews. Okay, so they want you to know the
Okay.
difference between all these three things, and then they'll give you different kind of question, and then I'll ask you to solve those. For example, they'll
Okay.
put console.log here by defining a const here, and then they'll ask you what will this 19 line print. Okay,
Okay.
if it is const, it will give you what kind of error. So those reference error, type errors, all of those things you should know. Okay, and then
Yeah.
all of these things comes with practice. So go ahead and then practice all of these things in the way that I have taught you. So go ahead and then declare them first, and then try creating examples for scope, and then try
Okay.
creating examples for mutability.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds all right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool then. So now the next thing that we are looking at is let me just check. So we are going to work with arrays, and then after that we'll follow with objects and string, and then finally we'll learn about dates. So
Data.
so this is first one. Okay, I'm just going to add this to your main.js itself. Okay, and then coming back to this, so I think we already have examples for arrays here. So I'm just going to go ahead and then go through them one by one. Okay, so line number 1, you can see how I have defined a array.
Yes.
Okay, you can see that I have defined an array using let keyword,
Let.
var keyword, or constant keyword. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Okay, it all depends on whether you want it to change later on or whether you don't want it to change later on, so on, right? Where you want to access it. So now you know, right? Now you know both scope
Yeah.
and this thing, uh,
Mutable.
mutability. So with that in your mind, you can define whatever you want. Okay, and then you
Okay.
can see that we have declared array called as 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, an
Yeah.
array is defined within two square brackets, and then elements are separated using commas. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to write it down here. Array is defined within square brackets, and elements within it are separated by comma
Commas.
values. Okay, commas.
Okay.
Correct. Now
Yeah.
let's go ahead and then bring up this next set of example that I have, which is sample array 2, which I have defined as constant. Correct. But what is
Okay.
the difference that you see between line number 3 and line number 5?
What
Okay,
is-
apart
They
from let
have
and const.
strings. They have
Yeah,
constant strings.
correct.
They're strings.
Correct. So what we see here is an array can be defined as series of numbers, or it can be defined
Mix
as
of
elements with both strings and numbers. Okay.
numbers.
So what does that gives rise to? It tells us that an array is not, what do you say, data centric. Okay. It is
Yes.
not data type centric. You can store any type of element within an array. One can be string, the other can be number, or it can be
Object.
object. Like on line number 8, you can see we have declared different elements with objects, and within that
Yeah.
objects you have key value pairs. Again, they match to numbers or strings. We don't really care. Okay,
Okay.
and then line number 4, 12, sorry, 11. Now you see we have few
Mix
numbers, few objects, and strings,
of
right?
strings.
And then we have some booleans. Correct. You can have symbol.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so an array is a collection of different data types or similar data types.
Yeah.
Okay, that is what the definition would be. Array is collection of different or similar data types. So now you have learned about things, arrays in Java. Correct.
Yeah.
So how do you define an array in Java? You define it as character array, string array, numerical array, or integer array, whatever, right? So an array in Java would be collection of same data types, but in JavaScript it's
Different.
it is anything that you can add anything inside that.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
So you don't really have to be confused about it. Okay? So that's first thing, and then next thing is how do you how do you check the array of array length? Okay, so this is how do you check the array length. So JavaScript gives you some inbuilt functions in order to perform certain operations. Okay, for example, you want to check the array length. Okay, you want to remove the first one, you want to remove the last one, you want to add something to the array. Okay, so you have
Okay.
certain operations that you can do built in. Okay,
Okay.
and then for checking the array length, this is the length is the inbuilt function. An inbuilt
Yeah.
function can be accessed by using dot property.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and then comment all these things so that it really doesn't comes in our way to solve things.
Right.
Okay, let me just go ahead and then type node and then day 2, I think it's day 3 array.js. Okay, so you can see that it's not giving anything because I did not type it. Okay. So I'm gonna just go ahead and then write a console.log statement, and then I'm gonna print count here. Okay, because that's what I want. I'm checking count here, right? So you see that count is giving us 6.
6.
So for what? For this one. You can see what is how many elements we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then
Okay.
the moment you add sample array dot length, okay, and you're printing it here on line number 18, or let's just put it here, okay, for simplicity sake. You're getting the proper array length, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, so now if you want to access any array element, okay, so you access it by something called as indexing. Okay,
Okay.
how does indexing starts? Indexing always starts from 0 in an array. If you want to access the first element, your index is 0.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, if you want to access second element, your index is 1.
1.
If similarly, if you want to access last element,
n-1.
then it is n minus 1. Right? Assuming that your array length is n, then your array indexing will be n minus 1.
-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so let's go ahead and then try to access the last element, let's say we'll access the first element in sample array or sample array 2. So how do I do that? I just give the array name, say sample array 2,
Sample
and then
array 2.
if I want to access the first
0.
element, I'll just say
0.
0 within the square brackets. Okay, so if I run this now, you will see that I'm able to access first element. So if I want to access the last element, how do I do it? What is the index? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I counting it right?
6 minus 1.
6
5.
minus 1. Okay, so the so it starts from 0. So it's not you shouldn't count it as 1, 2, 3. You should count it as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You were right when you said 6 minus 1. But I say when you're counting also, when you're counting doing indexing, count it from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will be 5. So if I just type it now, you will get fifth element is what? 3. Fifth indexed element is 3.
And then JavaScript doesn't have that means we somewhere type that end statement and that symbol. I forgot the symbol name. Ending symbol. What is that mean?
I did not get the question.
Means console.log count and that the symbol name I forgot.
So console.log what?
Console.log.
Mm-hmm.
The inside the bracket, that outside what the ending symbol.
Oh, okay, okay. So you mean this?
Yeah.
No, it is not mandatory. It is there, but it is not mandatory. So that's one thing that you find difference between your again Java and then this. So in there,
Yeah.
all those things are mandatory. But in here, whether you put it or you don't put it, it's not really necessary. I mean, it's not mandatory to do so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going forward, we'll learn about some linting and formatting rules. So that time you will see
Okay.
how you can write a cleaner code by maintaining some consistency. Okay.
Okay.
So consistency is when you use these things across the application or you don't use it across the application, because it is not really mandatory, right? So,
Yeah.
but again, it gets confusing when you are multiple people are working on the same project, correct?
Okay.
Because few are writing like this, few are not adding that, correct? So it gets confusing.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to accessing last element, you said it is 5. Okay, I've just typed it, but can you think of any other way of getting last element? Because currently you're able to count it, but what if it is 1000, 2000, or some 1263 elements
Array
in that?
dot array dot length minus
Yeah.
1.
So you do array dot length, which is sample array dot length minus 1. Okay. And then you see that when you run this, you'll still get the same thing. Okay. So that's how you do it. Okay. And then similarly, if you want to do last but one index, you do
Minus
array
2.
dot length minus 2, minus 3, and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds good. These two examples, last but one index or third element from last index, whatever you want to do. So you just say sample array dot
Minus
length minus those many.
3.
Okay. Now, so the next
Yeah.
thing is okay. So the next thing we'll learn about is how to insert the element into array,
Okay.
to the array. So inserting is really easy. Let's say you have var array is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now if you want
Okay.
to add a new element, what you do, you can simply
Array
say
dot
array dot
push.
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 Okay. And then within the brackets, you just add the value that you want to push. Okay. And then you say console.log and then look at what is the new array now. You will see that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
Okay.
So you can use
So
push
if I want
operation
to, okay,
in order
if I
to
want
push
to
the element to the end of the array. Okay, to the end of the array. That is one way of doing it. Okay, but there is also other way of doing it. Okay, there is also other way of pushing elements into the array. What is the other way? We already know how to access the certain element, correct? So what we do is we use the same concept, array, okay, and then array dot length. So what will array dot length minus 1 will give me? It will give me last element,
last
correct?
element.
So
Yes.
if I say array dot length and then say 8, how does that sound? This means you're creating a new space and then you're adding 8 to that.
Okay.
You're getting it? You're getting my point?
Yeah.
So what am I doing is I'm just adding array dot length instead of array dot length minus 1, because that will give me last element, right? So I'm just saying array dot length and then adding a new variable.
Okay.
So you can either use push operation or you can do like this. Or I mean, this is nothing but indexing, right? You're adding, you're taking index and then adding the value. So you can use something to, so instead of insert, say you want to update the value, right? That time also this is useful. For example, I want to change the first element only. Okay, then my index is 0. Correct? So sorry, my printed console.log here. Okay, so let me just rerun this. You can see when I do array of 0 and then assign 8 to that, you will see that first value got changed. Okay, so now you know how to insert and then how to update. Okay, so we learn about how to delete and then perform certain other operations on objects. Sorry,
If I
arrays.
want to insert something in the middle, so
Yeah, that is what we will try to do. Those kind of operations, starting tomorrow. But meanwhile, I want you to go ahead and then read about what is splice. Okay, slice. Okay,
slice.
so go ahead and then read about these two. and see if you can practice them. Otherwise, we'll try to
Twice,
do
I
them.
guess that mean half means if I want to
Yeah,
extend
yeah.
the arrays for my game.
Don't guess. So if you guess also, with that in your mind, go ahead and then read what it means to you, and then read without that in your head, and then see what it means. Generally,
Okay.
any programming language, if you just go by the English meaning, I think they make a lot sense. For example, say push. Push means what you're doing. You're pushing something into this. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you say pop, pop means what? It is coming out, right? Something is
Coming
popping
out.
out, right? Which means something is being picked from that.
Okay.
Okay. So they make a lot of sense when you just try to understand it from English literal meaning. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. For more updates, please like, share, and subscribe to Code Multiverse.